Welcome back.
Deborah, do you know how many Facebook groups exist?
Wow. Okay. I'm going to say it's probably billions.
Is that millions with a M?
No, B is in Bravo, billions.
No, not quite billions. However, as of August 22 last year, there were over 10 million groups. Can you imagine that? With over 1.8 billion people using them each month. That gives you an idea of how much activity there is globally.
Wow. A lot of activity for sure, definitely.
I think most of them can't possibly be effective doing what they're set out to do. Would you agree?
I would say there's a lot that are probably not very effective at all. And I have to say that I'm guilty of probably a few Facebook groups not being that effective. They were initially when I was using them for specific purposes, but then not so much now.
Deborah, how are you today?
I'm doing well. This is thank you for asking, Marino, and this is a really good topic because I think it's really timely that if people really want to increase their visibility, they need to create a community, their own tribe. And this is something that I'm going to be working on as well too, and I know you're going to be working on. So it's a great topic.
I'm hoping to give everyone a holistic overview. So, a reminder to attendees, any questions, please put them in the chat, whichever platform you are using, and we will address your questions. Creating a business focus group is an inexpensive and effective way to reach our target market, Deborah. But it's not easy, not at all. However, we should, though, pay attention and make an effort to discover and learn how to grow it well.
Yeah, I would agree. It's a good topic and very worthwhile right now. So no time than the present to create and develop and contribute to a really great community.
We've created a group. It's brand new, and I want to use that as an example to list the important points, which I've categorized into two sections. The one is setting up the group, the structure, which is very important, and then the kind of tactics that we can adopt to invite and engage people. I would like to, it's a kind of a brainstorming idea. I've listed the points and I'm curious to hear your thoughts about them. Let's use a PowerPoint to guide us through the points, Deborah.
Perfect. Let's see it.
So the two sections, setting up the group, 15 points, and then we are going to go into ways to grow the group without advertising. There are 13 points. So
And
group
by the way,
setting.
you make a really good point, Marino. This is organic. This is, creating the group and growing the group, but using it without advertising. Because many people want to use a more organic, natural process of really building those relationships personally. So I like this approach. This is great.
Good point. However, we must say that advertising does work, because when you pay, and the more you pay, the more targeted the audience, which will see our ads. Then, obviously, the benefits have been communicated. Prospective members want to know what they will get out of it. Specific keyword rich name. The title of the group is very important. If we see a group name, Deborah, and it's meaningless, we will go away. However, if it has interesting words and it's meaningful, then we may look into it. We'll spend time to peruse it.
Makes sense. That's good.
We set up a private group, not a public group, which means that we decide or we evaluate the people who can join the group. Obviously, we want to make sure that they will benefit from it. The group is visible. Obviously, some groups can be hidden. Quite honestly, I don't see the benefits of hiding a group, but we want people to see our group. We need to make it visible. Start by adding a friend. It's an easy way to do it. You have been invited. You're my friend.
And I accept it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deborah. I've bolded this because the description is very important. It needs to be clear and enticing. It's obvious.
Yeah, and I mean, really, just as a point, a lot of people think, well, is clarity that important? It is, because if people are confused, they're going to turn away and they're going to go elsewhere. So
That's right.
the title, the description, all of that needs to be very, very clear and enticing so that people can self-identify and go, that's me, I want to do that, or participate in that, and I want to be part of the group. So that it becomes really important when you're really lasering in on your target market.
Yes, a confused mind cannot make a decision to join a group. The cover photo is important as well. So an appropriate, a suitable picture needs to be selected. I think we've done that. No location. I chose no location because in our case, it's an online service that we're offering, which means that anyone on the planet can benefit. Another important section where prospective members need to answer questions to join. We need to evaluate them to ensure that they are the right person, that they will benefit, that we can help them, and that they can contribute to the group. Listing the group rules is very important. People need to know what they can and cannot do. And it's a good, yes.
So Facebook actually provides some pre-written rules for groups that you can just simply click on them and create them, and then they're added to them. But you can customize the rules as well. So take that in mind, that if you want very specific things to happen, then you can create that for the group.
You're right. I noticed that Facebook allows you to pick 3 rules. And when I saw that, I thought only. So yes, one needs to go in and add additional rules if necessary. And then we need to, and we have created a page to promote the group. Why? Or rather, I should ask, why can we not promote the group from within? Because the only people who can see what we post in the group are group members, and they're already there. So there's no point in inviting them to a group they already belong to. So in the page, we create a post where we can post interesting, valuable, enticing information, informing people how this group can benefit them.
So you're actually creating a Facebook page, not a profile, but a page to promote the group. Is that correct, Moreno?
Yes, correct. Our Facebook account is the profile. It has our timeline. And then we create a business page, which is called the Facebook page. And from the page, we create a group where we invite a specific group of people that meet certain criteria with whom we can work. Also, it's nice to customize the web address, because when you create a group, Facebook automatically creates a URL for you, which is a mix of numbers and letters, which is confusing and not meaningful, therefore forgettable. Whereas in this case, I created my own Facebook group name, You Online Live, which is easier to remember than 123XYZP34.
True, definitely.
And Facebook gives you the option to select a group color. I chose a blue-based color.
Good choice. I like blue.
Yeah, blue stands for what, Deborah? Power?
Power,
Money?
really, well, royalty, power, so prestige, but it's also a very traditional color. It's a very business-oriented color.
Business, yes, it's business-orientated. That's right. However, if you want royalty, Deborah, you need to choose purple. Purple is the royalty color. Did you know that?
Well, it is as well too. I'm a really big fan of cobalt blue, that bright, vivid royal blue type of.
Yes. This is the first section. The second section that we're going to, at this point, Deborah, would you say that we've set up a group with a good, solid structure, which is meaningful, visible, and should have all the necessary components to give a prospective member the necessary information to make an intelligent decision?
I do. There's a couple things that I would add in there, and one of them is a question in the beginning when people are clicking on to join. They have to answer a series of questions. I would add two things in there, and one of them is, what do you want to learn in this group? What's really important? What are you challenged by, and what do you want to learn? Which allows people to elaborate on a series of things that are important to them specifically. And why it's important to ask this question is because this creates an environment now where you can extract that information that the person has submitted, and you can use that to build out content, really valuable content for the group that really serves that customer base. And then the second thing that I would add in is inviting them an opportunity to maybe get something for free, one of your free reports or free documents. And if they agree, if they want it, they submit their email address. And so that also allows you to extract that email address and start building your database in your email list, which is really important too for communication. So if they don't include the email at that time, they choose to say, no, thank you, not now, there will be opportunities in the group for people to say, look, hey, if you want a copy of this, just message me or say yes and include your email address and I'll forward it to you. So there are other ways of getting around that. But those two things I think are really important, because you really want, while your description tells people this is what the group's about, if people feel that they say, look, I have questions, I'm struggling with this, I'm challenged with this, this is what I'm hoping to learn within this group, that just adds greater value to everybody in the group as a whole.
Good points. And that makes it interactive from the very beginning.
Yes.
Now, we set up the group. Let's take a look at how to promote the group without advertising. Over 1 billion Facebook page visits a month. Mention the group on the page. We already actually mentioned that, by creating posts that contain valuable and interesting content for visitors. It's recommended that these posts should be put up every 100 new members. And also, apparently, page fans will see it in their timeline when we put up these posts. It's also recommended to not post them more than once a month, I imagine, because then it comes across as spam, and we definitely do not want to do that.
Good points.
Then pin the post listing the group rules at the top of the page, and add any links to the group there as well. Make the rules very visible. Oops, let's go back one. Cross promote. There are many other groups. It's a good idea to find other appropriate groups where we have things in common, where the groups can benefit one another through cross promotion.
And what becomes really important too is if you're finding other groups and you want to do some cross promotion, you can always speak to the administrators, but really even before that, have a look at and review the rules of those other groups to see if it's contrary to what their rules are to be able to do some promotion. But it never hurts to just touch base with the moderators or the administrators of that group and say, hey, what about some cross promotion here to help each other both grow? And usually people are pretty receptive to that.
Yes, and in exchange, we can link over to their group. It's always very important to be helpful first in other groups, and then promote our group. First give, then ask.
I agree.
Ask highly engaged members to invite new members. Highly engaged. These members will be highly engaged because they find value in the group, which means it will make it easy for them to identify people they know who they think will also benefit by joining the group. So why not ask them to bring in more members?
I agree. If you're really leveraging those raving fans, everybody's going to benefit in that process.
Yes. Influencers, connectors are clearly the most valuable because they know the most people, and connectors, influencers are usually mainly in the game of connecting. So try and get influencers, connectors to join our Facebook group and tag them.
Good idea.
Let's see if I have anything else on influencers, except that they can have a big impact on the growth of our group. Oops.
And that's where those, from the influencers' point of view, creating affiliates or joint venture relationships is a really great way to quickly grow your groups.
Yes. There will always be posts that we don't want to see. So we need to make an effort to hide offensive posts, always be on the lookout for them. We never know when they are going to appear. Just like new members should be approved quickly, not wait. I think the longer a new member has to wait, the excitement will wear off, and maybe might even change their mind about joining the group.
And I think it's important to, like that, as we had mentioned earlier, to extracting the information from the initial questions becomes really important. Make sure you, as the administrator or moderator, are reading that information and extracting it into a spreadsheet, for instance, if you're wanting to. But also, it doesn't hurt to actually send a private message to anybody that you've quickly accepted to say, hey, you're part of the group now, you've just joined, and welcome, and really build that community, that relationship, and really engage with people personally.
Good point. That is very important to make new members feel welcome. Also, a good idea might be to ask everyone else to welcome the new member to the group. Just put up a post reminding everyone that we have a new member, and to take a minute to make them feel welcome. Not everybody's going to do that, but some people will. It's nice to feel welcome. Don't you agree, Deborah?
I do, and I think that's really important. And you're encouraging the rest of the group to reach out and to connect as well, which is really important.
Yes, I like that word, connect. It's very important for people to feel that they're part of a group, that they feel appreciated, noticed, welcomed. Of course, this is all about social media, and it makes sense that the group should also be promoted on other channels like Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Meetup. Put up a post on those channels, the same post, just telling people about the group that they could join and benefit in ways which will be clearly and briefly described in the post. Just
Good idea.
Tell people there's awesome content available inside the group. Maybe free training, a PDF guide, checklist. We need to find ways to get members to stay active and participate. And ways to do that is to ask questions within the group. People like to be asked what they think on certain topics or certain ideas. Get people to tell personal stories about themselves, experiences, fears they've had. Encourage discussion. And encouraging this discussion also, I imagine, will help the group to become self-sustaining as members get to know each other, especially if they feel vulnerable.
Putting a lot of attention on the implementation and members taking action on the content that we're delivering within the group allows these participants to actually reap the benefits of taking immediate action. So it's actually going to build their businesses. It's actually going to help them to get results in their own business, in their own lives.
Yes. Polls is another great way to get people involved, to participate. People like to see what other people think, what other people choose. And that is one reason why people participate in polls, so they can see how they compare to others. Then also each week we should have a different theme that will encourage participation as well, instead of regurgitating the same content that would have the tendency of becoming monotonous.
Some groups actually have different days of the week themed as well too. So the idea of having this group is making it interesting for people, but it gives them a reason. If the days are themed in a very specific way, that encourages them to participate and get more visibility for themselves, or actually they can, by participation, they can leverage their own business and get more growth. Then that is really just offering really great value to the participants.
It's also a good idea, Deborah, at the end of one event meeting, to briefly outline the theme or the topic for the next event. That'll give people an opportunity to prepare, list questions that they may have, and that gives them an incentive to attend the following meeting, because now they know what it's going to be about. They're not going to enter a room without an idea of what is going to transpire.
Great idea.
Prevent spam, very important. Apparently that quickly kills groups. We do not want spam at all. Messages that are of no use or just overly promotional, that must be prevented. And apparently there are always ways for spammers to manage to slip in by appearing normal at first, and afterwards, when it's too late, do we find out that they're really there only for themselves. Second last point, or the last point actually. We already covered this, introduce new members. Don't know why it's there. But the last point I want to mention is this one. Ask new members to share information about themselves. You know, it's like somebody entering a room. You have an event, Deborah. It's your event, and someone enters the room. The first thing that you want to know is something about them. And also, when somebody enters a new room, joins a group, they're an outsider and they want to feel welcomed as soon as possible. So here as well, when a person joins a group, our group, we need to make them feel welcome. Perhaps put up a post where we remind everyone else in the group that someone else has joined, and to take a minute to make them feel welcome.
I agree. I think that's really important. And the other thing too, because of the nature of a Facebook group, and then people want to grow their businesses, by having them introduce themselves and what it is that they do, maybe in a written format, maybe encourage them to do a live, maybe encourage them to do a video. They're actually stretching, and maybe they're very gifted and talented in this area and already are very comfortable. But if they haven't done it before, this is an opportunity and a safe place for them to stretch and grow and challenge themselves to get out of their comfort zone so that they can become more visible in the group as well.
Yes. I think I have one more slide. This is our Facebook page. We can't put the Facebook group here because no one can see what's inside. They need to be members first. And I've added this link to the chat. Attendees should be able to find the link there. You're welcome to take a look. This is the last slide. I'm now going to take it off.
Yeah, you know what? Those are really great points just to kind of as a checklist to go all the way through and say, have I done this? Have I created my own group? Maybe not. And but at the end of the day, if a group is what you desire, if you're wanting to create your own personal community, I think these are really good first steps to be able to take to make that happen. And so thank you, Moreno, for putting those pieces together.
Thank you for participating, for sharing your ideas, Deborah. Do you think that during our online brainstorming session that we managed to list and uncover some useful information and tactics?
I think so. Yes, definitely, definitely. So now we're encouraging our audience, if you haven't created your own group, this is an opportunity for you to do it now.
Great, Deborah. I thank you. A last message from you, Deborah, before we wrap it up?
Well, you know what? Join the group, share your ideas and your experiences of groups, and let's all grow together and become way more visible. So this is your opportunity to get you now online live.
To our attendees, we hope that your time was well spent and that you found this session useful. To your continued good health and success in business, goodbye until next time.